On the 1st of November 2011, a seemingly routine transatlantic flight from Newark, New Jersey to Warsaw, Poland turned into an aviation thriller worthy of its own Netflix series. Lot. Polish Airlines. Flight 16, a Boeing 767 with 231 people on board, faced a critical technical failure that left its landing gear stubbornly stuck. The result? A dramatic gear-up belly landing at Warsaw Chopin Airport that, against all odds, ended without a single injury. It's a story of cool-headed pilots, nerve-wracking engineering glitches, and a nation that suddenly fell in love with its captain. So much so that a new saying was born. Fly like an eagle, land like a Wrona. A transatlantic flight turns into an engineering puzzle. Light. Flight 16 was a scheduled service connecting Newark Liberty International Airport in the U.S. with Poland's capital. The aircraft was a Boeing 767-35DER, a long-haul workhorse named Poznan and registered SPLPC. Built in 1997, it had logged over 85,000 flight hours across more than 8,000 takeoffs and landings. Its engines were General Electric CF6, 80, C2B6, the kind of power plants that usually purr like contented cats at cruising altitude. But that day, soon after takeoff, things stopped purring. About 30 minutes into the flight, cockpit alerts announced a malfunction in the aircraft's center hydraulic system. This was serious. The center system controls, among other things, the landing gear. However, the crew decided to continue toward Warsaw rather than immediately turn back. The main reason? A Boeing 767 loaded for a transatlantic flight is a flying fuel tank. Landing heavy carries its own risks, so they opted to burn fuel en route to Poland. A standard and cautious decision. The hydraulic issue didn't escalate mid-flight. No loss of control, no cabin drama. Passengers sipped their drinks, watched movies, and had no idea that the ability to land on wheels was slowly draining away. Arrival over Warsaw, and an unwelcome surprise. As the 767 approached Warsaw Chopin Airport, the crew went through their usual landing checklist. But when they hit the switch to extend the landing gear, nothing happened. No satisfying thunk of wheels locking in place, no reassuring green lights on the control panel, just silence and stubborn hydraulics. Captain Tadeusz Wrona and First Officer Jerzy Schwark, both highly experienced with over 25,000 hours of combined flight time, immediately began troubleshooting. The crew tried the standard and alternate gear extension systems. They even attempted to use gravity and backup electric motors to drop the gear. No dice. The landing gear was essentially ghosting them. To confirm what the instruments said, 2 Polish Air Force F-16 fighter jets were scrambled to fly alongside the aircraft and eyeball the landing gear. The verdict? The wheels were still tucked neatly away, like a cat refusing to come out of a box. Warsaw Airport goes into full emergency mode. By now, the flight had been circling for over an hour, both to burn off fuel and to give emergency services time to prepare. Warsaw Chopin Airport effectively shut down. Incoming flights were diverted, outgoing ones canceled, and roads near the airport were closed. Firefighters coated runway 33 with a special foam layer to reduce friction and minimize sparks when the plane inevitably touched down metal first. Passengers were reportedly calm, but aware something unusual was happening. The cabin crew prepared them for an emergency landing. Brace positions, clear instructions, and we can only assume a lot of deep breathing. This is where good training shines. Panicking doesn't help anyone when you're about to slide a 130-ton aircraft onto concrete. The moment of truth. Landing without wheels. At 1440 CET, Captain Wrona lined up the Boeing 767 for one of the most challenging landings imaginable. Belly landings are rare and unforgiving. You've got to control descent perfectly, keep the fuselage level, and minimize sparks that could ignite spilled fuel. With surgical precision, the 767 touched down on its underside. Sparks flew, but the foam and controlled speed prevented fire. The plane skidded down the runway, slowing to a dramatic but safe stop. Within 90 seconds, all 231 passengers and crew evacuated via slides. Not a single serious injury reported. Applause broke out, both on the tarmac and across Poland. Wrona instantly became a national hero. Headlines praised him for keeping cool under enormous pressure. And because Wrona translates to crow in Polish, the phrase "leć jak orseł, ląduj jak wrona," fly like an eagle, land like a crow, was born, celebrating his gritty, no-frills heroism. Behind the scenes. What actually failed? The initial investigation quickly found the root cause of the nightmare, a hydraulic leak in the center system. Early in the flight, a flexible hose bent excessively and ruptured, bleeding out all the fluid that powered the main landing gear extension. The loss was flagged on the cockpit's engine, indicating and crew alerting system, but with no wheels needed mid-Atlantic, it didn't seem catastrophic. Normally, if the main hydraulic system fails, Boeing aircraft have an alternate electric system to extend the gear. But in this case, another problem lurked. A popped circuit breaker labeled C829. This little switch, tucked inconveniently low to the right of the first officer's seat, protects circuits including the alternate gear extension motor. With it tripped, the backup system couldn't function. After the emergency landing, investigators manually reset the breaker, and just like that, the landing gear obediently deployed. Too late to help that day. Why didn't the crew spot the breaker? The 2017 final report found that several factors made it easy for the LOT crew to miss the tripped C829 breaker. It was mounted so low that pilots would struggle to see it in flight. There were no safeguards to stop it from tripping inadvertently, and LOT's manuals and Boeing's checklist didn't prompt crews to inspect it under this kind of failure. On top of that, maintenance hadn't yet implemented a Boeing service bulletin to reduce hose bending, the very issue that caused the hydraulic leak. Creating a perfect storm of a hidden breaker, a tiny mechanical oversight, and procedures not tailored to this exact combination of failures. Aftermath. Wrecked plane, hero pilot. Despite the safe landing, the aircraft itself was not so lucky. Sliding on its belly caused extensive damage to the fuselage and systems. Leati and insurance companies declared it a total hull loss, the aviation world's equivalent of "this car's not worth fixing." The plane was dismantled and scrapped by 2013. However, the human outcome couldn't have been better. No injuries, no fire. Passengers walked away shaken but alive. Poland celebrated Captain Wrona and his crew. The president at the time, Bronisław Komorowski, publicly thanked them for their calm and skill. The story ran worldwide, with aviation experts praising the execution of a textbook belly landing, a maneuver you hope you'll never need to perform. Lessons learned for aviation safety. Flight 16's ordeal left valuable lessons for aviation safety. It showed how crucial circuit breaker visibility is, prompting designers and airlines to ensure crews can easily inspect and reset critical breakers. It underscored the need to scrutinize hydraulic hose routing, as the initial leak came from excessive bending, a preventable maintenance issue. The event pushed LOT and Boeing to update checklists so crews are better guided during hydraulic and electrical failures that affect gear extension. It also proved the value of thorough training. The calm decisions in the cockpit and flawless evacuation showed why pilots and cabin crew rehearse worst-case scenarios. Above all, it reminded passengers that modern aviation relies on layers of redundancy. Even when multiple systems fail, crews can keep everyone safe. A textbook example of calm under pressure. The LOT Flight 16 incident is now a case study in pilot training programs, maintenance reviews, and crisis management. It's also a rare feel-good aviation story. A major system failure, a dramatic emergency, and yet zero casualties. It's easy to think flying is risky, but stories like this prove the opposite. When things go wrong at 35,000 feet, well-trained humans and robust design can turn disaster into survival. And sometimes they even inspire new national sayings. So next time you board a flight and glance toward the cockpit, remember, you might just have a crow up there. And that's a very good thing. And that's the incredible story of LOT Polish Airlines Flight 16. If you found this video as fascinating as I did, hit that like button. It really helps this channel reach more aviation fans and curious minds like you. Got thoughts about this legendary belly landing? Maybe you've been on a flight that had an unusual landing? Drop a comment below. I love reading your stories. And of course, if you enjoy gripping real-life aviation tales, make sure to subscribe. Until then, fly safe, stay curious, and remember, fly like an eagle, land like a crow.